Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
Welcome to episode 53 of Talk Smart with
Pugh
and McCART. That is young Joe Pugh over there, and I'm Andrew McCART. Joe, we should have done this maybe a couple of days ago, but the schedules didn't align. They've aligned now. Huge card out in LA. Give me your thoughts on the whole event. It looked amazing out there.
Yeah, it did. It looked very picturesque. It looked like something you get in like a video game or a TV show. It was boxing in LA. It's done to the very best, and there were some excellent fights on paper, and those fights on paper delivered. I know, obviously, your boy Martin Bakole, maybe the story of the night, really, including the main event, destroys Jared Anderson, and he's kind of backed up what a lot of people, headlined by Billy Nelson, have been saying about Martin Bakole for a very long time. And even I would hold my hands up and say I didn't think that was going to happen. Not saying I thought Bakole was going to lose, but I certainly didn't expect him to win in the fashion he did. And yeah, excellent. Then Jarrell Miller and Andy Ruiz. Who'd have thought it had ended up like that? Certainly not me.
Definitely, it was a great night of boxing. You got the big knockout from Martin Bakole, you got the slugfest from Miller and Ruiz, and then you got the technical chess match between Madrimov and Crawford. So if you're a pure boxing fan that likes all that sort of stuff, there you go. The three fights at the top, and Isaac Cruz against Valenzuela as well was a good fight. So there you go. You had it all wrapped up in a bow on Saturday night.
And Andy Cruz.
Andy Cruz as well. What a talent! I think this might be when Eddie Hearn says, sometimes Eddie Hearn gets a lot of slack for what he says and stuff, but he might be right on what he's saying about Andy Cruz. I mean, what a talent that guy is, and he's probably the pro game and the amateur game are two different sports. But Andy Cruz is kind of like a Lomachenko. He's taken to the paid ranks like a duck to water, which is it's going to be exciting. And listen, that Keyshawn Davis fight is the one we want to see, so fingers crossed that can be made in the near future. Yeah, so it was a great card up and down, but I'll start with the Bakole and Jared Anderson fight, and we'll work our way up there. Yeah, everyone knows my relationship with Martin. I'm lucky enough he lives about 20 minutes away from me. See him all the time. Happy guy, good religious man. He's got a heart of gold. And I think he deserves it. I think with the critics that him and Billy Nelson were getting on Twitter with the sparring stories and whatnot, which they're backed up by me because I've seen Martin Bakole spar, and not against Joyce and all that, but I've seen him spar in the gym, and the guy's an animal. Peter Fury said it as well. Tyson Fury said it. So, and now Billy Nelson, he said headline by Billy Nelson, he said it as well. But sparring. You can only go over the stories because it's a closed environment sparring. So you can only go over the stories, and it's hearsay and whatnot. But I do feel like, and I said this is Martin Bakole's coming out party, fighting an American heavyweight in America. And just dispatching Jared Anderson the way he did, it looked effortless. Do you know what I mean? It just looked like he wasn't even out of third gear, really. And I think the 285 pounds, 6'6", he carries the weight well. He can do 12 rounds at that weight, 280, 290, whatever it is. You might think that 285 pounds take him into the deeper rounds, the later rounds, and you might gas him out. But I've seen Martin, man, he goes. I've seen him do 12-round spars, and then he'll hit the bag for 4 or 5 rounds, and then he'll do the 300, 400 sit-ups. Believe it or not, he does do 300, 400 sit-ups after a session because he might not have the six-pack, but you look at Jared Anderson, he was ripping that body to shreds, and it never made Martin Bakole wince once. So, yeah, fantastic fight. Happy for the big man. And you said yourself you were surprised that maybe not the victory for Martin, but the way it went about.
Yeah, I thought it was a 50-50 fight going into it. Hands up, and we've spoke on this podcast before about how highly we rate Jared Anderson, and Bakole beasted him. Bakole really did beast him, and now it's not just the talk of the sparring stories. It's not just the most avoided heavyweight label. He is a heavyweight contender, and he has to be fighting in the biggest heavyweight fights. So that leads us to the next question of who do you want to see him fight next?
You said the biggest heavyweight fights. You're not talking about money or stage. You're talking about big guest. How about Zhang versus Bakole? How about two 6'6", 280, 290, 300-pound monsters? Is that
You read my mind. You read my mind.
Is that big enough for you?
You read my mind. I thought when you talk about styles making fights, I think that could be the ultimate slugfest of all slugfests. It would be absolutely brilliant. Two guys with really fast hands, and two guys really whose tanks have had question marks over them. Can they still cut it late? So I think that makes a really interesting fight. Very, very, very interesting fight. I'd love to see that fight, and I think that one is the number one on the wish list now.
I think if you look at the heavyweight division, like Usyk Fury, I know Billy Nelson and Martin said that they want Usyk and Fury, but they're tied up. They're going to have a fight in December, obviously. Joseph Parker, does that fight excite me for Martin? It does, because Joseph is on a good run of form. He's already beat Zhang. But when you talk about excitement, when you talk about hand speed and just staying in the pocket, both of them come forward. So it's just going to be like a train smashing into each other from the get-go. One's southpaw, one's orthodox, so the backhand from both men is going to work perfectly. It slips in there nicely. Boom. Yeah, that fight, 6'6". They better reinforce that ring. They better have extra, whatever it is, scaffolding underneath that ring to make sure it's reinforced. Because you ever seen wrestling when they do the suplex off the top rope and the ring? I can see that happening when you've got two men close to 600-pound each, and then you chuck in a little 150-pound referee. That's a lot of weight in there. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that fight excites me. It probably excites. That's probably the most exciting fight in the heavyweight division, to be honest. If I'm going to be honest with you, that fight is probably the most exciting fight in the heavyweight division right now.
Going into the Miller Ruiz fight, if it went the way a lot of people thought it was going to go, and Ruiz come out of that looking strong, I would have loved to have seen the Bakole Ruiz fight.
Even
But I
Bakole
think
Miller. Bakole Miller.
Bakole Miller be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I want to see that rematch, to be honest. I want to see the Miller Ruiz rematch just to settle that.
You have to.
It seems like, certainly with the Riyadh season cards, and I was just looking at the box rec rankings on the heavyweights there just to make sure we hadn't missed anyone. And it feels like, because every fighter is fighting each other, especially in the heavyweight division, things are getting settled and people are starting to kind of fall out that top 10 where we thought they were pushing into the top 5. The heavyweight division is becoming a lot clearer. There's less guesswork now because they are fighting each other, which is fantastic. So just to get that clarity, I want to see the rematch between Miller and Ruiz, and either one of them against Bakole would be an absolute barnstormer.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you talk about styles make fights, we spoke about it last week. When you look, Joyce got beat by Zhang, but Joyce knocked out Parker. Parker beat Zhang. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's styles do make fights. And when you look at the way Mark Bakole fights, that sort of relaxed, come forward, good combination, good shot selection in terms of uppercuts, body shots, straight right hand, left hooks. He's got good shot selection. When you look at that, Mark Bakole against Zhang, Miller, Ruiz, maybe even Ajit Kabayao. That's quite an exciting little fight because Ajit Kabayao's on a great run of form. But yeah, I agree with you. The rematch has to happen with Ruiz and Miller. Miller, if I'm going to be honest, I think when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, he's got this. He's nicked this, Miller. But it was a draw, so you have to do the rematch. But this time, Andy Ruiz is going to have 2 years out the ring. He had 2 years out the ring before he faced Miller. Maybe he gassed a little bit late. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he was conserving a little bit of energy. Maybe the snap or the quickness in his feet wasn't there. The snap in his punches wasn't there. But it will be this time round. So I think it'll be a totally different fight. I think it'll be a more exciting fight. I think we'll get a much faster, fitter, stronger Andy Ruiz. But that being said, Miller will have the bit between his teeth because he's like, I ain't going to let this go to the judges again because of what happened. So I think the rematch is going to be just as exciting, or maybe even more exciting. If I think it needs to happen, chuck that on Usyk Fury undercard. Why not?
Yeah, I think Ruiz got injury to his hand.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah, you're right. His hand.
Yeah, so I don't know what the recovery time will be for that, and I don't know how much that affected him during the fight. So again, it just goes with the theme. Just get clarity on that fight, and then we'll move on with the heavyweight division. But it was an excellent night, and we've now really got to talk about the main event in Crawford Madrimov. A really, really close boxing match, a real technicians fight, a boxing purists
Mm.
fight. Uh, Madrimov, for me, one of my favourite fighters, especially coming out of the Carbonov fight, and then Crawford, who many people opinion pound for pound number one. Like it was just an absolute. It was a fantastic fight, and I think that is a fight that will age like a fine wine. Many people will be looking at that fight in years to come because I think Madrimov will now go away and rebuild and still become a multi-time world champion. I
Mm.
really think in years to come, when both of their careers are finished, that will be seen as a hell of a fight because Madrimov was only what 10-0 going into that fight. So
10-1, I think it was. Yeah, 10-0-1. He had that
yeah,
draw.
sorry, he got
Yeah,
the draw. Sorry.
yeah.
So Madrimov will come back, and when he's built his legacy, and you look how early he fought Crawford in his career,
Mm.
that fight will be looked fond upon.
Yeah, that was definitely. I said that. I've said this on this podcast before. That the good thing about what Crawford does good is he downloads data.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean, on his opponent? So you can see him in the first round. Sometimes he takes the first. He doesn't really do much in the first round because he's seeing what gaps, what openings. He's downloading that data as I said, and then he'll go back to the second round. Um, but when you got somebody like Madrimov with the extensive amateur career and the skill set and the size of Madrimov, maybe had Crawford thinking too much. Do you know what I mean? Because he landed 3 or 4 right hands right after each other, boom, and then boom. But you seen Crawford trying to get his feet right and whatnot. But I think that extensive amateur pedigree and the skill set of Madrimov really matched Crawford. If you're a pure boxing fan and you love the sweet science of boxing, that was a great fight to watch. But if you're just a casual fan that likes to see big knockouts, Mark Bakole and Anderson was a great fight to watch. Do you know what I mean? Or you like the slugfest and Ruiz and Miller. So yeah, I love the fight, man. I'm a technician. I like to see what fighters do. I like to see if they can navigate their way through a tricky opponent. And Crawford's the best at that. Crawford has knocked out every single. I think that was Crawford's first decision win in 8 years. Don't quote
Should
me
we
on
have
that.
a look? I've got box rec up
Yeah, if
here.
you got box right, have a look. I think that was Crawford's first decision win in 8 years.
Let's have a look. Let's go
If
back.
I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, Joe, just make sure, just lie and say I'm right.
Well, we are going. I'm still scrolling. So here we go. 2016. Yeah, you're right.
8 years.
2016.
There you go.
Nearly to the day as well. Nearly to the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think just a week out, and that was Victor Posto in 2016, and that would have been
I was
the,
actually. When was Ricky
the
Buns
super
fight?
lightweight.
Ricky Buns was 16, was it not?
No, I
14.
think Ricky Burns was 2014. Yeah,
Yeah, 14. Ricky Buns. Well, I remember Crawford said that Ricky was his toughest opponent to date, but I can imagine it being Madrimov now.
yeah, Madrimov. Wow, he's had some great fights, hasn't he, Crawford? And he get another one. His legacy will go untouched, and I want to see him in the biggest fights now. I really do.
Sorry, I just want to ask you, Joe. Right, Canelo. Right, we're going to go on to Canelo, right? Because he's fighting Belanga. I like the fight with Belanga, right? I really do. I think Belanga comes and brings it. He's got high knockout ratio. He ain't going to take a backward step. Belanga. He's size wise, he's bigger than Canelo. But does he bring anything that Canelo hasn't seen before? I don't think so, right? But I like. Don't get me wrong. I like the Belanga fight. Canelo gets past Belanga, right? Who's out there for Canelo? Tell me who's left to fight? Benavidez.
Benavidez.
Yes, but is that going to happen? I doubt that.
It has
Crawford,
to happen. For me, it has to happen.
but
Because, as you say, there's nobody else. If he goes through Belanga, fine. Even if he has another one, a Eubank Jr., for example, he back himself into a corner where he has to fight Benavidez or go up and try and beat Bivol or Beterbiev, the winner of that fight.
Hmm.
He has to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think for the 168-pound division for Canelo's complete. Complete. He's already undisputed. I think he's ran through the whole division. There's nobody in that super middleweight division that really excites me. Chris Eubank Jr. Yeah, it's a good fight. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't excite me. Do you know what I mean? It's a great fight, but it doesn't excite me. I think I want to see Canelo in with Benavidez. I even want to see. I still want to see Crawford and Canelo. That's a little guilty pleasure of mine. And the reason why I say that, right? Again, we'll go back to that styles make fights, right? I know Canelo's too big. Canelo's going to be massive walking into that ring. I think Crawford weighed 169 pounds fight night against Madrimov, which is just a pound over the super middleweight division. What's Canelo going to weigh on fight night? He's going to be about 20, I wouldn't say maybe 15 pounds, a stone heavier than Crawford if they do fight. But I think Madrimov had better feet than Canelo. I think that's what was difficult for Crawford to pin Madrimov down. I don't know. I'm probably set up. I still want to see it, but I don't want to see it. Does that make sense? I think Canelo's too big, but it's Crawford, man. It's
It is
Crawford.
Crawford, and who am I to say someone shouldn't fight anyone? But would it damage his legacy? I don't know, because at the minute it's so.
No, I don't think Roberto Duran done it, mate. Roberto Duran wiped out the lightweight division and then stepped up to face Hearns and Hagler at middleweight. Do you know what I mean? I think he fought Hearns at super welterweight. And
But he worked his way up to that. He didn't just go from lightweight to middleweight.
He didn't go to welterweight, I don't think, did he? No, he fought Leonard at welterweight. So he jumped up two weight divisions to fight Leonard at welterweight.
So I just think,
and I'm just saying that. Am I talking crap? I need to look that up myself.
When Crawford started off at lightweight and now he's worked his way up 3 weight divisions, and then you're talking about going up another 2 weight divisions against someone who has fought and been a world champion at light heavyweight. This is huge.
The light heavyweight world champion was against Kovalev, who seemed to be on his way out. When Canelo fought somebody that was a fully fledged young light heavyweight in Bivol, do you know what I mean?
He's still been there. He's still, because it was only
he has, yeah.
3 months before the Yard beat Kovalev.
Geez, Duran was up at super middleweight as well, man. That guy was. That's why he's my favorite fighter in the whole world, man. Honestly, I love him. He fought Leonard at middleweight as well. Hearns was it light middle. Hagler was at middle. Light middle. Oh my, he's just a beast, man. So Duran did it. He might not have made the leap like you're saying, but he did move up. Roy Jones Jr. was a super middleweight and made the leap up to heavyweight, even though he went up as well. But it has been done before. But I say this as well. The only time an elite fighter comes unstuck is either Father Time, he fights on too long, or he does make that big leap up to a weight division, which is too much for him. The weight is just too much in terms of the size of the opponent. Crawford's coming on 37. Is the leap up to super middleweight too much? There is all them factors in it. Crawford seems comfortable in doing it, but Turkey's Al Sheikh's already said that he's not interested in that fight. So again, I don't know where I sit. I was all for the fight up until that Madrimov fight, and I went to my bed, woke up and says, "Nah, Canelo's too big." But then I'm thinking it's Crawford. He'll adapt. I don't know.
We don't.
You still want to see it, Joe? Or do you think you want to see it?
I'm 50-50, to be honest. I am 50-50. I think there's some great fights for Crawford still. I'd love to see the Virgil Ortiz fight, which Virgil Ortiz is fighting this week. I'd love to see so many fights. I don't know where the Charlos are at the minute. But a prime Charlo against Crawford, certainly at light middle, would be an excellent fight. I'm just, again, looking at the rankings now. And even a Fondura would be an excellent fight.
Fondura. I think for Canelo, for Crawford, mate, I think he said it's about money now. Or is it? But did he say that? But I think right now he wants to really get in and get out this game in the sense that he knows he's.
And I don't blame him.
100%. I don't blame him either. He is 37, 41 fights deep. Is there an interest to go to that 50-0 like Mayweather? Who knows? And the safest bet for him to do that is to stay at 154 and clean up 154, which is an easy task for him because he just beat the best guy in that division. Madrimov is the best guy at 154. Sebastian Fondura's good. Tim Zhu's good. Virgil Ortiz, like you said.
Imagine he become undisputed. Then he becomes a 3-weight undisputed in the 4-belt era.
And and then he'll probably be 40. 4-0. Would I like to see him go for that 50-0? Is that an ambition of him, mate? I don't know. Like, I think he can do it if he stays busy, if he stays active. It's 9
So
fights away.
if he did go world title, and become undisputed, and then you're looking at what is he now? Then you're looking at 43-0, and then he's done that, and then thinks, okay, let me cash out on the Canelo fight, because Canelo fight will have Belanga, and then he'll have another 2 fights. You're only really looking at this time next year, really. This time next year, maybe September next year, and then that'd be a monster.
Mm-hmm. And then does he fight MMA guys to get to that 50-0?
I can't see that one, mate. I can't see Crawford doing that. But he's earned the respect, in all fairness, where he can do what he wants. He can fight Postman if it's going to earn him millions of pounds, because he is one of those fighters where he probably didn't get the paycheck that his talent warranted for a large portion of his world title career. So let him reap the rewards now.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, he's 41-0. I don't know. I love Crawford. The first time I ever saw Crawford was Ricky Buns, and I can remember being at St. Enoch Centre in Glasgow for the public workout, and I was backstage with Ricky and all that, and Crawford's family and his team were going wild. That was my first introduction to Crawford, and I can remember going up to him and didn't know who he was, never seen him fight before. He was just an American coming over, and I didn't know he would be that good. Even at the fight when he beat Ricky, because Ricky went the distance with him, and Ricky had some success in there sometimes, but you still didn't know how Crawford would be. You knew he was special, but you didn't think he'd be this special, undisputed champion in 2 different weights and doing what he's done now. And he was just a cool guy back then, and I've met him on numerous occasions after that, and he's always been a cool individual. So I know we're supposed to be, but I actually I'm a fan of Crawford, and a small part of me does want him to get to 50-0. I don't know why. I just want him to get to 50-0 just so he can match Mayweather, and that 50-0 is not like there's not much shine on it anymore for Mayweather. Do you know what I mean? I love Mayweather as well, but I just like Crawford to get 50-0.
Okay, here's the question.
Yes.
Would you rather Crawford get to 50-0 or Crawford become a 3-weight undisputed world champion?
A 3-weight undisputed. I think that means a lot more.
Never been done, has it?
Nah, it's never been done. The 50-0 thing's probably a selfish thing on
Mm.
my point as a fan. I want to see him do it. But the undisputed, the 3 weights, definitely. That's and I think right now this 154 division's probably come on. He's just beat the best guy in the division. He'll beat Virgil Ortiz. I think his style suits him. That come forward, strong guy. He can use his feet a lot more. Then you got Sebastian Fundura, the height. He'll navigate that, no doubt. Well, who's the other champion then? Have I missed someone out?
Have you missed anyone out? We will find out. One sec.
Tim Zucciolo. I know Virgil Ortiz is fighting this weekend, you said. WBA.
What did you say? Fundura and
Who's the WBC? Is that still Charlo? Has he got that? Because they're fighting for the.
No, it is WBC and WBO. Fundura.
Is it?
Yeah, he beat
So he did. Yes.
Yeah,
So
for the WBC and WBO. And that's interesting because it's only 1 fight away then. If he fights Fundura, it's undisputed. But Virgil Ortiz's fight is for the interim WBC. So I'd love to see, if Virgil wins, the winner of Virgil and Fundura fight Terence.
Yeah, I think that's probably that will happen. To be honest with you, I think that's the route they'll go down. The boxing is starting to pick up again. It's been a quiet July and August, so hopefully September with the Joshua, Dubois, Dalton Smith's returns to Sheffield as well at the end of the month. Immediately after it, there'll be other shows in September, and in October we go back to the Undisputed for the light heavyweight between Berta Biev and Bivol. So the fights keep rolling again. We just need to get into September, mate. Once we're there, we're good.
Yeah, well, big blow with Catterall and Prograde being
postponed. Right, yeah.
That was to be the 24th of August. Next week, there's a Queensbury York Hall show between Denzel Bentley and Derek Azaze, which I'm looking forward to be covering. And then we just got to roll on September. I think at the end of the month we've got I've got a nice little Misfits Dublin, which I'm sure you'll be watching at home on the end of your
Oh,
sofa,
I'll be on the edge of my
um,
seat, mate. I'll be on the edge of my seat.
clamoring to watch KSI's live performance. Now he can't box because he's injured.
Live
But
performance. Was he rapping?
yes, he is rapping. But we got a Premier League winner Danny Simpson on the card now, which that is kind of funny. I do like that.
Right, okay. You know I'm a better fighter and a better rapper than KSI.
A better rapper as well.
Oh, 100%, hands down.
I do think KSI beats you. I will be honest. I will back
What?
KSI.
At rapping or boxing?
Both.
You fucking madman. You madman. I'll give him the rapping maybe, but definitely not boxing. 100%. There's no danger,
He's a
KSI.
lot bigger than you. He might be
It
too
doesn't
big, too
matter.
strong, Andrew.
He's not
He
much
might be
that
too
big. He's
big.
not much bigger than me. How much does he weigh?
Well, he cruiserweight.
Is he that big, is he? How
Yeah,
tall is
light heavy / cruiserweight. Light heavy / cruiser.
he? You can have it. You can have the extra 10 kilo. I don't give a shit. There's no way he's a better fighter than me. I know that
Got
for
a lot of height as well. I reckon he keeps you on the end of his jab all night.
He's not got a jab. He star jumps. He's got a jab.
That
He
is
star
his
jumps.
jab. That
That's
is
his
his
jab.
jab.
That's his jab. But look at the gap. Look at all the space. If I do this with my arms, but I'm going to tickle his rib cage and take his rib cage home with me. How's that?
Right, last one. Last one I'm going to ask you. We just had the first Riyadh season card outside of Riyadh in LA
Mhm.
in last week, and then with 6.5, 7 weeks time until Riyadh season London edition. What is the better card?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Joshua Dubois, I like. You've got Liam Smith, Josh Kelly. You've got Shiraz. What's the main? What's the co-main on that? Joshua.
So you've got Joshua Dubois,
Yes.
Kelly Smith,
Kelly Smith.
Shiraz Denny,
Bawatsi Hutchinson.
Bawatsi Willie Hutchinson, Mark Chamberlain's on the card, and am I missing one? Warrington Kakachi.
Oh, Warrington could catch. I'm going to have to say it right, and people might shoot me down, but I think the LA card was better.
Yeah, I think from a world point
Just
of view,
though, I think just when you got like heavyweights and you've got Crawford, who's a boxing legend, and I think you've got that little sprinkle of all the heavyweights, the Bakoles, the Millers, the Ruizes, and stuff
it's the
like that.
Bakole bias coming out in you, isn't it?
Oh
It's the
no.
Bakole
Well, maybe a wee bit then, maybe a wee bit, but I think maybe slightly the LA card. I think I know they're going to do something special in London in terms of like an Eminem type.
Yeah, we've got Liam Gallagher.
Liam Gallagher. That's
Yeah,
better than Eminem anyway. So there you
I'm
go.
very excited for that one,
We have to
Andrew.
switch it back to.
We both see him live this year, so
Yes, we have. Yes, so I have to switch it back to London then. I think the London card's better now. You've got Liam Gallagher. I think that just tips it
yeah,
over the edge.
that would
Yeah.
be very
Hey, listen,
good.
they're both great cards. Both great cards, man. We're spoiled for choice, and it's one of them questions where I'm lucky enough to just who really cares. I'm happy to be wrong because both cards are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I cannot wait till the 21st of September,
And I bet
and
you can.
and then we
I bet
just get into it all once again, mate. All once
Definitely,
again.
like I say, let's get into September because these summer months have been, even though they've been enjoyable, but we've been on holiday and whatnot. But we need to get into September and get some proper hardcore boxing back. I cannot wait. But Joe, as always, I salute you, young man. You enjoy the rest of your week, and
Yeah,
I'll catch up with you soon.
I'll catch up with you soon, mate. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
bud. Thank you.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.